Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network with Donald Eng. That's him over there.
We call that Adams. The ambush going live.
We are right in your faces to get things started. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. I got some feeling back in my toes. I'm good to go.
Phenomenal job yesterday. You looked like you were having a good time down there, despite being cold at the hockey game.
It was fun. Actually, it was my first time covering a hockey game, probably since the mid '90s when I was actually covering the town of Easton, and I covered the Masuk hockey rivalry. So I've covered 2 hockey games in the last 20-odd years, and both of them involve Masuk.
Well, do we count the Fairfield Prep game from last year?
Oh, that's true. Well, yeah, but the problem is I spent most of the second and third periods incarcerated. That was the
Yes, you did. Don was in jail at the Webster Bank Arena a year ago. It was fun.
It might have been. It was probably fun to watch. It was a little bit less fun. It was a little bit less fun being tackled out of the path of the Zamboni. But that was a rookie mistake.
Yeah, details. Anyway, we're going to start with hockey, and really, we'll get to the Trumbull Masuk game from yesterday. We have highlights from that, but off the top, I really think, look, we were at a game that we thought could be good. I thought the probable game of the day was Darien Greenwich. And again, if you don't know, and we got asked why were we unable to broadcast it, basically the infrastructure, we weren't allowed to plug into Greenwich's internet at the Dorothy Hamill rink, so we couldn't broadcast that game yesterday, but it was starting to look solid that we're going to have their rematch when they meet again later this month. Or later next month, I should say, middle of next month to be exact. I think it's February 15th. But all that put aside, we did get highlights from our own Steve Buno of the Darien Times, in fact, and Darien coming out and doing a good job. As I said, we've got highlights. So before we get to the highlights, it just sounds like Darien proved once again they're the winner and still champion. Darien
looks to have reestablished itself as the team to beat. They've got the one blemish on their record, a game against Notre Dame of West Haven that I thought really was just nip and tuck. Could have gone either way. Notre Dame has since lost a couple of games, and then they've bounced back in the last couple of weeks and gotten their skates back under them. So that was an important game. Darien getting the win over Greenwich, who was the former number 1. It was a crazy day in high school hockey. As the scores were coming in, we were all looking at each other saying, "Are these scores real?" I mean, New Canaan with a 5-1 win over a very good Xavier team. This is after New Canaan had a very disappointing start to their season, and then they pound a top 5 team in the state. We also have Bishop Hendricken defeating Notre Dame of West Haven, the aforementioned Green Knights that have been back on a roll after losing a couple of tough games. And again, as we've been saying for seems like a month now, there's about 4 or 5 teams at the top that really could be capable of winning a state championship in March. But right now, you would have to say Darien is probably the best team in the state.
Let us take a look at that highlight package, and we'll come back and see if we really think that Darien is the best team in the state. We'll talk about that, but first, the highlights, Darien and Greenwich.
It's an important game for us. We're at the midpoint, 9 games into the season. We haven't lost a game before today. So, my feeling coming into this is, this is an important test at this point in our season, and want to see Darien. I know they're a solid team, deep team, and do a lot of things well. And certainly we saw a lot of that today. I thought they beat us to a lot of pucks, and they won a lot of battles.
I was happy. It was a great high school hockey game. So, as I said to some of the other guys, obviously I'd rather win than lose. But coming out of here tonight, I was happy one way or the other with the way that our guys played. It was a fast hockey game. I thought it was very, very well played. And really, it's the first time I think all year that we've put 3 good periods together.
And you hear from the coaches, Mac Budd of Darien and Bob Russell, of course, with one of my favorite accents from Greenwich. You can just hear the coming right out of him, that Canadian oot. Bob's a nice guy. And right now, you have to assume until Greenwich can beat the Blue Wave that the Blue Wave are in the Cardinals' heads because they beat them twice last year. Of course, in the two big games, the FCAC championship and then the state championship game that they won 1-0 up at the Yale Whale, and then they come out and beat them pretty convincingly yesterday. Right now, I feel like there's a little space in the Cardinals' collective brain, and it's being rented by a Blue Wave.
Well, I don't know if I would necessarily agree Darien's in Greenwich's head. I just think they're a better team. I think is what we're seeing is that that Greenwich is an excellent team. I would have had them ranked number 1 for a majority of the season after Greenwich lost. But I think it's just clear in watching the two teams that the Blue Wave is just a little bit better. And the more times you play, the more the superior skills come into play. I just think Darien's a better team than Greenwich is.
I think they're 1-1A. I think Greenwich is right there. They were 8-0. And by the way, this was the non-FCAC game, so it doesn't impact the Cardinals overall. But in terms of the state poll, and we've got the Hartford Current poll that we're glancing at right now, I think come next week, Greenwich will no longer be the number 1 team. This is compiled by Matthew Conyers, who does a great job with it. Notre Dame of West Haven is the number 2 team, Don, and that's where we pick up number 3. And we just talked about a surprising result with the Xavier Falcons.
Yes, Xavier last week beat St. Joseph and Simsbury and then lost to Notre Dame of West Haven. Xavier is ranked number 3. They lost to New Canaan yesterday. This current hockey poll came out yesterday before all the games were played. And then Darien at number 4 with a record of 6-1. They lost to Notre Dame West Haven 2 weeks ago and then came back to beat West Haven and West Hill Stamford by identical 4-1 scores. And then they beat Greenwich 3-0 last night. They have St. Joe's and Trumbull remaining on their schedule this week. And looking at that, I kind of think Darien was sort of like hilariously, it just seems strange to say, but I thought they were underrated at number 4. I would have put them 3 before yesterday's games. I probably would have put them ahead of Notre Dame. I thought Notre Dame was ranked a bit high for being 7-2-1 and having that rough week a couple of weeks ago. That dropped them to number 4 in the polls, and then this week they're back at number 2.
Yeah, I still think when you're talking about a paper like the Hartford Current, with all due respect, and as well to Game Time, I think voters tend to get lulled by that I-91 corridor. They get kind of hung up by these teams out there, and it's just the way it goes. It's not a knock. I just think that's reality. Number 4 was Darien. I expect them to be number 1 next week, assuming things go right for them tomorrow, because the number 5 team is St. Joseph. And if Darien knocks off both Greenwich and St. Joseph, who the Blue Wave play tomorrow right here on the HAN Network, 6:30 face-off time, I can't see how the Blue Wave don't go back to number 1.
No, I expect Darien to beat St. Joe's, also with the teams ahead of them, Xavier, Notre Dame, and Greenwich all having lost this week. You have to figure that Darien now at 6-1 and possibly 9-1 going into next week's poll would be back in the number 1 spot.
Notre Dame of Fairfield is number 6. Number 7, Simsbury. We take it to number 8.
Number 8 is Northwest Catholic. They're coming in with a record of 6-1. They lost to Simsbury a couple of weeks ago. They're now on a 5-game winning streak, including a 7-4 win over Hamden in the first meeting ever between the two schools. Suffield, Granbury, Windsor Locks is at number 9 in the current poll. They got their offense going this week after scoring 4 goals against North Branford. They play East Catholic yesterday and Conard on Friday.
Number 10 is Glastonbury, just 4-3-1 on the season. But I'll tell you, after this week and after what I'm seeing from the Fairfield Co-op team, don't sleep on them, by the way, in terms of the overall state, because a couple of quality wins for the Fairfield Co-op. I'm impressed with what they're doing. I'm not necessarily saying they're top 10 yet, but again, keep an eye on them.
Well, they may not be top 10, but the thing is, in that once we get to that Division II and the Division III state playoffs, some of these teams that are maybe having right around 500, playing a tougher conference schedule, could be right there. You just never know. I mean, the Fairfield Co-op, they put up a good. They played well against New Canaan. I thought they played pretty well against Darien. And once they're not playing top 5 teams in the Division II playoffs, it could be a nice run for them.
Not to beat a dead horse, but we are going to play the Trumbull Masuk highlights for you now. And the dead horse part is the part that I want to stress. This was the first time we ever broadcast a filmed game from the rinks at Shelton. It's a wonderful facility, still has a kind of sparkling newness to it. Nice place. I'm impressed by the whole place, the whole facility. And good people working there. They offered us one of the offices to look down on the ice. Tough to film from there, though. tough angle. We'll figure another setting out for tomorrow's game, probably in the stands when we're there tomorrow. But Don was down ice side, as well as Frank Granito. John Kovac and I had the call from up in the office, quote-unquote, booth and, camera stand and everything else. Poor C.J. Santiani standing to my right. Gosh, he had to listen to me for 2 hours.
We were also distracted by the flashing lights of the pinball machines, the bubble hockey game, playing the national anthem.
There's a lot to deal with.
It was. It really was. The good part, though, is that if games are tied after 2 overtimes, we can always settle it by laser tag. So that's always nice.
So let's take a look at the highlights from yesterday. Trumbull and Masuk right here on Nutmeg Sports. From the rinks at Shelton, it's high school hockey on the HAN network.
McMahon with a 1-0 lead over Wilton early second period.
Off the face-off, it goes in the net, and that was not the intention. But boy, sometimes you throw it on net and good things happen. Masuk will take the 1-0 lead, and I believe Denham will get the goal. Now it comes back into the left circle, and spinning around is Brady Jensen. Jensen redirects it back out to center, off the boards to Leibowitz, right circle, puck loose for the put-home. They score! Here come the Eagles. Nifty move down on net, and the save made by Wise. Boy, that would have been so beautiful for Jensen to finish that, but Wise up to the task. Oh, and it's loose through traffic from the blue line, and Trumbull scores. Sometimes a goal is going to be bowling shoe ugly, and that was it right there. Jacob Leibowitz makes it a 2-1 game. You can hear the announcement at 3:16, so Jake Leibowitz from Terrio at 3:16. It's a 2-1 game, looking for more, and they almost got it. Now they score off the backhander. Eric McCabe makes it a 3-1 game. Played all the way back out, and now it's Denham. Denham across the Trumbull line. Denham into the left circle, throws it on net, and they score. New life for the Panthers. It's a 5-2 game. Unbelievable. 2:50 to go, second period here. It's a 5-2 game, but that's stunning entertainment news coming across right now. Now across the line come the Eagles. They'll go into the slot. Backhanded score! Jensen again. Like Will Ferraro, the defenseman, to play it with 6:29 to go. It's a 6-2 game. Puck loose. Another try, and there's your hat trick. All right, so a good job by Trumbull to get that win, 7-2 yesterday over Masuk, and Brady Jensen with the 3 goals.
Yeah, I thought the game was a little bit more competitive than the final score might indicate. Masuk controlled play for a lot of the first period. Couldn't quite, they got the 1 goal on the board, couldn't quite get another one. And then at the end of the first, Trumbull got the equalizer, and then that fluky goal that started to start the second period seemed to kind of demoralize the Panthers for most of the period. And then the two teams played to a competitive third period, but by then it was essentially over from the puck drop for the third.
So it was a peaceful, easy feeling for the Trumbull Eagles. See what I did there, Don?
I did see that.
Aha. A little nod to Glenn Fry as we take a break and head off to the Hotel California.
Take it easy now.
We will take it easy, and we will take the long run as we take a break here on Nutmeg Sports. We're back right after this on the HAN Network.
Here at the Darien Sports Shop, we are very excited about our newly redesigned men's department. Gentlemen, if you're shopping for work, weekend, or wedding, we've got the latest styles and trends inside our spacious new department just for you. We have vast selections from Peter Millar, Vineyard Vines, Johnny O, Duckhead, Barber, and so much more. And you can even walk out of the store in the new Wolverine 1,000-mile men's boot. Conveniently located with free and easy parking at 1127 Post Road, Darien, Connecticut. Or shop us online at dariensport.com.
It's time to come back to hometown banking, where people are taken into account, not just balances. Where community comes first. A place where there's more than one kind of interest. Where automation will never replace consideration. Where they not only know your name, they know your dog's name too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well. Bank smart. Bank local. Bank well.
While there's still a bite out on the water, most anglers have decided to stow the gear for the winter. Just because Mother Nature isn't cooperating doesn't mean you can't see the latest models of all your favorite gear. With 2 convenient locations, it couldn't be easier to get your fix of summer. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, or on the web, dockshop.com.
I'm Kate Chaplinsky. Join us for Coffee Break, weekdays at 11 to get the latest Connecticut news, weather, high school sports, and more. News doesn't get any more local than on Coffee Break on the HAN network.
Welcome back to Nutmeg Sports. No, we're no longer in the fast lane with Donald Eng. I'm Rob Adams. All right, Glenn Fry, we respect and love and miss and all of that. Still, I mean, to me, that was a loss of part of my youth, but anyway, and I'm sure for you and a lot of us around this whole group as well. But let us talk about the MLK Boys Basketball Classic over at the Webster Bank Arena yesterday. Really what has become a big event, and I remember interviewing Charlie Dowd, who runs the Webster Bank Arena, a year ago, and him telling me, he and folks associated with the event telling me how big they wanted it to become. They added a 5th game this year.
A quintuple header, that's big enough.
Kind of cool. And I think to myself how fun that would be to broadcast 5 games of basketball. But the game's not all that competitive. One definitely, but some of the others not so great.
Right. Well, and what they tried to do, the concept obviously was the Bridgeport versus New Haven high school boys basketball
overall, yes.
rivalry. That was the overall theme of the event. Wilbur Cross with a big win over Central. Hill House beat Bassick. I think the lone win for the Bridgeport crews was Harding beating Career, and then Hand and Law with a couple of SCC teams. Not really.
There's not really the Bridgeport.
They threw it into the 5th game, and I'm sure it was fun, but it didn't really fit the overall theme. But it ended up being the best game of the day.
And Brookfield, really, which is northern Fairfield County, up by Danbury, knocking off Colby Cathedral 74-53 as well. So that one a little bit out of the region. But still, I like what they're doing there. I like the spirit of the event. I know John Kovac and I had a blast at it last year, so nice to see that they're doing it again. And again, not great games, but at the same time, you kind of balance that all out. You remember it's still high school sports.
And it's also an 8-hour day. That's a long time to be sitting in an arena. I'm sure people were, you didn't have more than probably about 1,000 people, but I'm sure it wasn't the same 1,000 for all the games.
No, I wouldn't think so. But high school sports, big arena, which makes it kind of cool. There's a different shooting perspective and all of that. The depth is much different.
And it's fun for the kids to play in a big arena.
Yeah, it counts towards your regular season. I get all that, but then again, the event and the experience being part of the joy of it all. So I think it's a pretty cool thing as we begin to look over now at the polls, both from game time and where we stand with boys and girls basketball.
Yes, well, we start off with boys basketball. Sacred Heart remains number 1. They've been there all season and likely will be until they lose to a Connecticut team. They defeated Woodland 99-49. Then they beat Crosby, and they lost to Foothills Christian Academy of California, 82-80. Foothills Christian, of course, another one of those national powerhouses that some of these Connecticut teams are stepping up and testing themselves against. Number 2, Windsor. They beat Weaver 75-71, then beat Avon 100-34, and then beat New Britain 76-61. They are number 2 in the polls, and they've collected 3 of the 19 first-place votes.
You wondered how good Fairfield Prep would be after last year when they won the state championship, the year before when they lost in the state championship game to Bridgeport Central. They are doing just fine, thank you very much, 9-0. They are number 3, defeating West Haven 80-38 and Career 90-51, as well as knocking off Notre Dame of West Haven. At number 4, Weaver Beavers, they lost to Windsor 75-71, but defeated St. Raymond's of New York, not to be ignored, 76-70 to number 5.
I just had to mention that Weaver is by far my favorite nickname in the state.
It's so great.
Isn't that great?
Beavers. Love
Nothing's better than that. Number 5 is Newington. They knocked off Bristol Central 75-36 and also defeated New Britain 70-58, and finally they beat Farmington 71-40 last week. Number 6, East Catholic. They beat Hartford Public 77-68, lost to Bloomfield 58-45. That loss dropped them 2 spots in the poll from number 4 to number 6.
We go to number 7. Bloomfield defeated Rams 61-56 and East Catholic 58-45. They're 8-0. At number 8, jumping up from 10, the Danbury Hatters, the FCAC, the lone FCAC representative. Big wins against Bridgeport Central and Darien as well. They beat Darien by 10. The Blue Wave hung in there in that game. Road games for the Hatters this week against St. Joseph and against the Golden Eagles. Well, they don't call them the Golden Eagles. They're the Eagles of Trumbull.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that is where they are this week. 7-0 are the Danbury Hatters, and they're having a good run of it to number 9.
To number 9 we go, and it is Notre Dame Fairfield off of 2 blowout wins last week over Newtown and Brookfield. They hold station at number 9. And number 10, Wilbur Cross, beat East Haven 71-47, lost to Xavier, and then defeated Hand. Wilbur Cross drops to number 10. They were number 6 last week. So the SCC pretty well represented. Looks like 2 teams in the top 10. The NVL also getting some love. As you mentioned, Danbury, the lone team in the top 10, but at 7-0, they are heading in the right direction.
And among those receiving votes, the Brian McMahon Senators as well, in what you would call 13th right now in the state, and I think deservedly so. They deserve some love there. They've had a nice season. Wilton also getting some votes, as well as those Trumbull, not Golden Eagles. So good there. And I think Stanford is a team to at least keep an eye on, although they lost to McMahon last week, as you talked about yesterday, with some of the silliness going on there. But I think Stanford also a nice little team in the FCAC right now.
Right. McMahon 8-0, Stanford I believe 7-1.
Yeah.
Also, the other team that I thought might merit some consideration for a spot in the poll, Hill House at 5-2. Those 2 losses were the top 3 teams in the state. They lost to Weaver and Fairfield Prep, or their 2 losses. Hard to find fault with you when your 2 losses are to the number 3 and number 4 ranked teams in the state.
A quick dance around the girls' basketball poll. Capital Prep at number 1, Mercy number 2, New London number 3, Norwich Free Academy 4, Cromwell 5, New Fairfield 6. Then we get to the FCAC, and that's where number 7 comes in. I'll throw it over to Don.
Fairfield Ward is number 7 off of 2 wins over Trumbull and West Hill. Greenwich number 8. They were number 4 last week. They dropped a game to Ridgefield 67-42. South Windsor number 9 with a record of 8-1. They climbed 1 spot from last week off of wins over Simsbury and Fermi. And finally, Holy Cross enters the poll for the first time this year. They beat Naugatuck, Crosby, and Wilby of last week. They have lost only to number 2 Mercy. And while we're on the topic of Mercy, they're number 2. Capital Prep number 1 lost to Christ the King of New York, a national power.
No shame in that.
Last week. And then they also played Oregon City out of Oregon in one of those tournaments. And the Trailblazers of Capital Prep will play Christ the King again on February 6th. So certainly not shying away from a challenge.
And I think for Greenwich, that loss to Ridgefield will wind up being the best thing to happen to them. And they got beaten solidly by the Tigers last Friday, as you saw here on the HAN Network. I think that was a good wake-up call for them, but we will see. With all that said, we will take a break. We've got one more thing we want to do for you on this edition of Nutmeg Sports. Maybe we'll get a little track and field in quickly. We'll hit the interview the memory bank, if you will.
The archives.
The archive, exactly. We'll take a break with Mario Recupito over on the other side of the controls. A timeout. We come back. More Nutmeg Sports right after this on the HAN Network. Denali is your outdoor retail destination in the Westfield Trumbull Mall. For the last 21 years, we have carefully selected clothing, footwear, and gear from a variety of the best outdoor brands, such as the North Face, Patagonia, Vineyard Vines, UGG, Merrell, GoPro, New Balance, and many more. Our stores have a friendly, knowledgeable staff to help you with all of your running, hiking, and cold weather needs, and in discovering all things outdoorsy and awesome. Visit us in the Westfield Trumbull Mall or online at DenaliOutdoor.com.
When you experience a sports injury, you want to get better and fast. Coastal Ortho Express gives you direct access to orthopedic care quickly. Their physicians are fellowship trained in sports medicine at world-class universities and are also team doctors for area football teams. For specialized personal care of sports injuries, go to Coastal Ortho Express. Open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building, 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or coastalorthoexpress.com. Coastal Orthopedics, keeping you on the move.
Do you do a lot of running around but get nowhere when you're buying a car? Visit Pamby Chrysler Jeep Dodge and Ram for the one-stop buying experience and stop spinning your wheels.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your local destination for the best of the holidays. Shop Stewart's for the freshest produce, certified prime rib roasts, magnolia wreaths, fresh baked pies, gingerbread houses, Christmas candies, and the season's best wine and craft brews right next door at Stewart's Spirits. Shop Walter Stewart's, 229 Elm Street in New Canaan, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
I'm John Kovach. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a high school football coach. I'm a television presenter. And I want you to love fishing as much as I do. Tune in to Yankee Fisherman, Thursdays at 1 on the HAN network. It's like going to the tackle shop without leaving your office.
We promised you a little interview, track and field, and with so much attention being given to Hannah DeBalzi, who has had just this remarkable career, Sports Illustrated High School Athlete of the Week, or of the Month rather, just a few weeks back, and really all this good stuff. Well, we've talked to her. We had her right here in the archives, so we'll run that. We'll come back as we dip just a little bit into overtime. I got a quick note I want to get to before we say goodbye. So first the interview, then the quick note, and Don and I will wrap up. First, here's the Staples track and field team.
This HAN Network video is brought to you by Darien Sports Shop.
And we're joined by the girls' indoor track and field team at Staples High School. Dave Stewart's over there. I'm Rob Adams. Let's let them say hello. I know some of them, but we'll start right here. I'm vaguely familiar with this one.
Hi, I'm Hannah DeBalzi.
Yes, you are. All right. Who are you?
I'm Angie Parmar.
Dave, take it away.
I'm Catherine Smith.
I'm Jesse McCray.
All right, the completely average Hannah DeBalzi here with us, Stanford bound, and you've been so fun to watch. What are you looking for this season?
Just to run fast, and hopefully the team does well. Yeah.
It's pretty good advice. We move down now. Okay, she's Angie, but she wanted to write something a little longer on her sheet. That's okay. What are you looking for this season?
This season's definitely a rebuilding season. We lost a lot of really talented girls last year, so I'm looking to have fun, but also to build the team up a lot.
All right, Dave.
Catherine, you put down here as a fun fact, you go to the New England's as a team in cross country this year. How big a kind of a launching pad into the indoor season is that for you guys?
I think we're coming in with a pretty strong distance base, and especially with the freshmen, we've had some very strong freshmen this year, so I'm looking forward to see how they do distance-wise and also how the new freshman sprinters will do.
Coach, tell me what you think of this makeup of this team.
I really like it. We lost a lot of girls from last year's team. We had a senior class that was very dominant in terms of their personality and performances. So they'll be missed for the performances and their personalities, obviously. But I really like this group. We have over 60 freshmen, and that's been a challenge. But it's been fun, and because of what we've done in the past, the expectations are always high at Staples High School, and I'm sure we're going to work hard to live up to those expectations.
You have a lot of good runners on the team, but what's it like having someone like Hannah on the team?
It's fun to watch. It's at times you really can't believe what you're seeing. But I think after going into her senior year, I'm kind of used to just the outstanding performances, and you just come to expect greatness and just appreciate every moment that you have to see all our girls compete on the track, because it's special.
Hannah, do you ever get tired of the attention? We're all kind of talking about it and laughing with you, but you've always kind of, in the times I've interviewed you, you've been very low-key, kind of shy. Do you get tired of all this stuff?
Well, I wouldn't say it's like my natural habitat, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this a fun group? What do you think?
Oh yeah, we have lots of fun together. We love joking around, especially with this one. We have a good time.
Yeah, same thing. A good group?
Yeah, definitely. Especially with indoor track, you get so many girls that you have so many different personalities in the mix that it's a fun time. Yeah.
All right. Last thing. What is this fun fact, Hannah?
Our team dance is the Quan. We're really good at it.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna. We'll look that up. All right. Good luck to all of you this year, and have fun out there. Have a great time, and best of luck. All right, girls track and field, the indoor track and field team with us here at Staples High School on the HAN Network. So there you go. We figured we'd take a look at track and field, especially with so much attention being paid to Hannah DeBalzi lately. And she's shy, but you know what? She is getting the recognition she deserves.
Right. She's shy, but boy, she could outrun just about anybody you know.
Boy, that's for sure. The thing I want to get to, and we're
something you can't outrun.
Yeah. The thing I want to get to is the concern for weather Friday, Saturday becoming more of a reality. So some games have already been changed for their start time. Just a quick glance at boys basketball. St. Joe's, or rather make it Wilton and Fairfield Ludlow, has already switched their game time Friday to 3:30. Other boys games in the FCAC are still scheduled for 7 o'clock. On the girls' side, Fairfield, Ludlow, and Wilton are now a 2 o'clock tip-off on Friday at the Field House, with 5:30 starts for New Canaan West Hill, Darien Norwalk, McMahon Central, Stamford Trinity Catholic, all going to 5:30 or 5:45 in the case of Trinity Catholic and Stamford. Right now, Trumbull and Danbury, the lone 7 o'clock holdout for a start time Friday night. But again, it's only Tuesday, but the concern about what we might get Friday, Saturday is at least a reality.
Right. I mean, they're calling for snow to start right around midnight on Friday night. Again, it is still a few days away, and anything could happen. The storm tracks could change, but obviously the concern is, if the snow starts a little bit early, then you don't want people on the roads heading home after a game, at 9 o'clock or so at night. So get the games over with, get everyone home.
And our good friend Jacob Mizell writing, he's at SWCT Weather. We are in wait-and-see mode for the upcoming storm. Potential for major snow, but lots with stars of uncertainties. More details in the coming days, so keep it where it is.
Snowpocalypse.
There's snow business like snow business. We're out. See you tomorrow. Or see you Thursday. Or see you whenever.
Yeah, I'll see you around.
See you around. He'll be in the office for sure. He just might not be on the air. Thanks to Mario for directing. Thanks to everyone for simply being everyone. Thanks to you for watching. For Donald Eng, I'm Rob Adams. Nutmeg Sports comes back with you tomorrow with Dave Stewart. Hockey as well tomorrow. But for now, so long, everyone.